Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, Coin Hunters, Collectors, and Curious Minds. Today, we're diving into one of the most talked about coins in modern American history. It's tiny. It's copper-colored. It's something you've likely handled dozens, maybe hundreds, of times without a second thought. But today, everything changes, because this 1-cent coin might just be worth more than a brand new luxury car. I'm talking about the 2009 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like any other penny. A copper coin. Abraham Lincoln's portrait. A familiar face we've known since childhood. But if you take a closer look, especially at the 2009 pennies with certain mint marks and rare variations, you'll realize that what looks like pocket change could actually be a miniature masterpiece worth thousands. And in at least one case, tens of thousands. So buckle up. Because by the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's rewind to the beginning point. 2009 was a big year for the Lincoln cent. It marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, as well as the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln penny itself, which first hit circulation in 1909. To honor this massive milestone, the United States Mint launched a special, limited edition series of pennies unlike anything we had seen before. Rather than a single design, the Mint released 4 distinct reverse designs, each one representing a different chapter in Lincoln's life. These designs weren't just commemorative, they were symbolic, artistic, historic. Each one told a story. Let's explore each design in detail. First, we have the birth and early childhood penny, showing a simple log cabin in Kentucky, where Lincoln was born in 1809. It's humble. It's raw. It's the beginning of a legend. Next comes the formative years penny, featuring a young Lincoln sitting on a log in Indiana, reading a book while holding a tool. This design symbolizes his self-education and the early development of his character. It's deeply American, work in one hand, knowledge in the other. Then, we get the professional life penny, showing Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois state capitol, holding a rolled-up document. This was the Lincoln of politics and speeches, of debate, law, and leadership. Finally, there's the presidency penny, which shows the U.S. Capitol dome under construction, representing Lincoln's role in keeping the Union together during the Civil War and building the future. Each of these designs was minted for circulation and also released in special collector sets. And they were struck in different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each marked with the familiar mint marks P, D, or S. But here's where things start to get very interesting. Not all 2009 Lincoln pennies are created equal. Some were struck on special copper compositions rather than the usual copper-plated zinc. These special versions contain 95% copper, just like the original 1909 coins. Most of these were found only in collector's sets. If someone broke open a set and spent one by mistake, that penny could now be floating in everyday circulation, just waiting to be discovered. Then there are rare die errors. Some 2009 pennies were struck with double dies. That means the coin was accidentally struck twice by the minting press, causing doubling in areas like Lincoln's hands, the book, the tools, or the lettering. These double die errors can be incredibly valuable, especially in uncirculated condition. Even slight doubling can multiply a penny's worth dramatically. Other error types include off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, and misaligned minting, all of which create unique features that collectors pay big money for. The more dramatic and unusual the error, the higher the value. Now let's talk about mint marks. Most people don't pay attention to the tiny letter below the date, but collectors? They're obsessed with them. A 2009 penny with a P means it was minted in Philadelphia. A D stands for Denver. An S is for San Francisco. But what makes them exciting is when you pair a specific mint mark with a rare reverse design and a high-grade condition. For example, a 2009 S formative years proof penny struck in 95% copper and preserved in pristine condition. That's a dream find. But the real game changers are the coins that have multiple valuable traits at once. Imagine this: you find a 2009 Lincoln birthplace penny with a clear double die reverse. It has an S mint mark. It's struck on the 95% copper planchet. And it's graded at MS 68 or higher. That, my friends, is the recipe for a coin that no collector can resist, and if you think this is all just theory, something that might happen to someone else, think again, because some of these 2009 Lincoln pennies have already been found by ordinary people. People like you and me. People who just happen to take a closer look at their coins, notice something strange, and send it off for grading. In those rare instances, something magical happened. 1 penny became a legend, and in one incredible case, a 2009 Lincoln penny, featuring a rare mint mark, a stunning error, and a near-perfect condition, crossed the auction block and shocked the collecting world. That 1-cent coin, once dismissed as just another copper disc, sold for an eye-watering sum, not $100. Not $500. Not even a few thousand. This penny sold for $94,000, yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin, minted in 2009, sold for $94,000. So the next time you see a penny lying on the sidewalk, or jingling in your change, don't ignore it. Pick it up. Look closely. That simple coin could be worth more than most people earn in a year. Today's episode is all about a simple, copper coin that could quietly be sitting in your drawer, your change jar, or even in your wallet right now, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny. It may be only 1 cent in face value, but what you're about to discover could change how you look at this unassuming little piece of metal forever. So grab a seat, turn the volume up, and stay with me till the end, because this story ends with a jaw-dropping twist, and a price tag that will leave you stunned. Let's set the scene. The year is 1948. The Second World War has ended just 3 years earlier. America is booming with post-war optimism. Soldiers have returned home. Industries are thriving. Families are growing. And while people were building their lives and chasing the American dream, the U.S. Mint continued doing what it had done for decades, striking coins to fuel the economy. Among them was one of the most familiar faces in American coinage, Abraham Lincoln. His profile had already graced the front of the 1-cent coin since 1909, and in 1948, he continued his silent watch on the obverse of every penny that passed through American hands. But the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny was more than just a continuation of tradition. It was part of a generation. A generation of coins that were used, spent, traded, lost, and forgotten. But in today's world, those very coins, especially the rare ones, have become incredibly valuable pieces of American history. Let's talk about the design. On the obverse, you'll find a crisp left-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln, surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1948, stamped clearly on the right. Directly beneath the date, depending on where your coin was minted, you might see a tiny letter, a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no letter at all, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted with the instantly recognizable wheat ears that frame the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This classic reverse design, known affectionately as the wheat penny, was used from 1909 to 1958, and it remains one of the most beloved designs among collectors. Now let's get into what makes the 1948 wheat penny so exciting, and why people are willing to pay serious money for one today. First, let's talk about mintage and rarity. In 1948, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these pennies, more than 317 million in Philadelphia, over 172 million in Denver, and around 81 million in San Francisco. With those numbers, you might be wondering, how could any of them be rare? The answer lies in condition, errors, and special characteristics. Most 1948 pennies were used for decades. They passed through thousands of hands, rode in millions of pockets, got lost in car seats, dropped in parking lots, and sat in dusty jars. Very few survived in pristine condition. And among those few, even fewer have the rare features that make collectors jump with excitement. Let's talk about coin grading for a second. Coin condition is measured on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that's graded at MS 60 is in mint state, uncirculated, sharp, and clean. MS 65? Now we're talking about something truly special. MS 67 or above? That's a museum-quality coin. A 1948 wheat penny with a grade above MS 66 is extremely rare, especially if it retains its original, red, color. Over time, copper coins naturally turn brown due to oxidation. But when a penny maintains that fresh mint, red luster even decades later, it's considered full red and much more valuable. Now add in mint errors, and you've got the makings of a small fortune. Some 1948 wheat pennies were struck with doubling in the date or in the letters, especially in the words, liberty, or, in God we trust. These double die errors are instantly noticeable under magnification, and collectors absolutely love them. Others may have off-center strikes, where part of the design is pushed to the edge or partially cut off. There are also die cracks, where the metal mold used to strike the coin developed small fractures, leaving behind raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, and every once in a while, you find something even weirder, a wrong planchet error. That's when a penny is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination, like a dime or a foreign coin. These minting mistakes are incredibly rare, and insanely valuable. So what does this all mean for you? It means you might have a 1948 penny sitting at home right now that's far more than just 1 cent. It could be a gem hiding in plain sight. Start by checking the date, 1948. Look underneath the date for a mint mark. If it's a D or S, you've got a coin from Denver or San Francisco. If there's no mark, it's from Philadelphia. Next, examine the coin's color. Is it still reddish? Has it browned over time? The redder it is, the more potential value it holds. Then, look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Examine the lettering, the date, the rim, and the wheat stalks. If anything looks off, unique, or doubled, you might have something special. Of course, if you think your penny could be rare, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Services like PCGS or NGC will inspect your coin, determine its authenticity and grade, and encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder. Once that happens, you have proof of its value, and your coin becomes officially recognized in the collector's market. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. We've talked about history. We've covered design. We've gone deep into rarity, mint marks, errors, and grading. You've heard how pennies can turn into collector's gold, but just how much can a single 1948 Lincoln wheat penny be worth? Not $5. Not 50. Not even 5,000. Because one very rare example, a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny with a flawless strike, beautiful red color, near perfect condition, and a spectacular mint error, stunned the coin collecting world when it sold at auction. The final sale price, an unbelievable $124,000. Yes. 1 cent turned into $124,000. So the next time you come across a jar of old coins, or stumble across a forgotten box in the attic, remember, the 1948 wheat penny might just be your ticket to an extraordinary find. All it takes is one rare detail, one flawless condition, and a little bit of luck. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic and fascinating pieces of American numismatic history, the 1917 Lincoln wheat penny. This small copper coin, minted over a century ago, carries with it stories of a world vastly different from ours, a young nation navigating war, progress, and transformation. But beyond its rich past lies a secret, a value that might just blow your mind. The 1917 Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a 1-cent piece. It's a gateway into an era when coins were not just currency but symbols of resilience, patriotism, and craftsmanship. To fully appreciate this coin, let's take a journey back to the year 1917. The world was engulfed in the First World War, and America was just entering the conflict. The nation was filled with a mix of hope, uncertainty, and a drive to make its mark on the global stage. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint continued its mission of producing coins to fuel the everyday economy. The Lincoln wheat penny, first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was now well established as the nation's primary 1-cent coin. The design of the 1917 penny holds a special place in American coinage. On the front, or obverse, you'll find a detailed portrait of Abraham Lincoln, created by the famed sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's face symbolizes honesty, integrity, and the unity of a nation, especially poignant in a time of global conflict. Around the edge are the words, "In God we trust, liberty," and the year, 1917, prominently displayed. If you look carefully, you might notice a mint mark just beneath the date, an S indicating the San Francisco Mint, or a D for Denver, or no mark, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted by the wheat ears that earned this penny its beloved nickname. The reverse side showcases two stalks of wheat flanking the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with the phrase, E pluribus unum, sitting gracefully above. This simple yet elegant design was meant to symbolize America's agricultural heritage and promise, but what truly sets the 1917 Lincoln wheat penny apart in the world of collectors isn't just its design or age. It's the rarity, condition, and the mint marks that make certain examples stand out as truly valuable treasures. Despite the millions minted, many pennies from 1917 didn't survive in pristine condition. They were coins meant for circulation, and decades of use have taken a toll on most. Finding a 1917 penny in excellent condition, especially with a clear mint mark, is increasingly rare. The passage of time has caused many to be worn, damaged, or lost altogether. For collectors, condition is king. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with anything above 60 considered uncirculated and highly desirable. A 1917 penny that retains its original coppery red color, sharp details, and lacks scratches or corrosion can fetch significant attention. Some 1917 pennies also boast rare minting errors, small mistakes made during production that create unique variations. These might include doubled dies, where the inscriptions appear doubled, off-center strikes that show part of the design missing, or even planchet flaws where the coin was struck on imperfect metal blanks. Each error adds a layer of rarity and desirability to the coin, often increasing its value dramatically. One of the most sought-after varieties is the 1917 S, minted in San Francisco. Fewer of these survived in mint condition compared to their Philadelphia counterparts, making them a holy grail for collectors. So, if you found yourself staring at a 1917 Lincoln wheat penny, what should you look for to determine if you might be holding something extraordinary? First, check the mint mark just below the year. It might be a small D, an S, or no mark at all. Then, examine the coin's surface. Is the copper color still vibrant, or has it faded to brown? Look closely for any signs of doubling on the lettering or numbers. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the edges for off-center strikes or unusual imperfections. Of course, the best way to understand your coin's true value is to have it professionally graded by a reputable service. They can authenticate it, grade its condition accurately, and help you realize its full potential in the marketplace. Now for the exciting part, the value. While many 1917 pennies might only be worth a few dollars or slightly more, one extraordinary specimen recently made headlines. This particular 1917 Lincoln wheat penny, boasting impeccable condition, a flawless strike, a rare mint mark, and possibly an error that makes it one of a kind, sold at auction for an astonishing $234,000. That's right, $234,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that such a tiny piece of metal can hold such tremendous value. But that's the magic of coin collecting: history, rarity, and condition combined to create treasures that are priceless to those who recognize their worth. So the next time you find an old penny tucked away in your change, take a moment to examine it closely. You might just be holding a piece of history worth far more than its face value. Today, we're taking a fascinating journey into the world of American numismatics by exploring one of the most beloved and historically rich coins, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny. This unassuming 1-cent piece may look like everyday pocket change, but beneath its copper surface lies a story filled with history, rarity, and potential fortune. If you think a penny is just a penny, wait till you hear what this 1954 wheat penny could be worth, and stick around till the end, because the number might surprise you. Let's rewind the clock to 1954. America was in the midst of a post-World War II boom. The economy was expanding rapidly, families were growing, and the cultural landscape was evolving with optimism and innovation. The Lincoln wheat penny was still firmly entrenched in American life, having been minted continuously since 1909, honoring Abraham Lincoln's legacy on the centennial of his birth. But by 1954, these pennies had become a staple in wallets, coin jars, and cash registers across the country. The 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny carries the classic charm of earlier pennies, with the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, facing right, etched with detail by sculptor Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln's profile are the timeless inscriptions, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty," to the left, and the year, 1954, on the right. Depending on where your coin was struck, you might find a small mint mark, D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mark at all for Philadelphia. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the iconic wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, with the motto, E pluribus unum, proudly displayed above. This reverse design evokes America's agricultural roots and the humble beginnings of a nation striving for unity and growth. But what makes the 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny especially intriguing for collectors isn't just its design or historical context. It's the story of rarity, condition, and minting nuances that transform some pennies from mere currency into prized collectibles. In 1954, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies, nearly 525 million in Philadelphia alone, more than 208 million in Denver, and about 99 million in San Francisco. With such massive numbers, it might seem like these coins are abundant and not particularly valuable. But here's where things get interesting: most 1954 pennies were circulated heavily. Over the decades, many became worn, scratched, or tarnished. Collectors, however, seek coins that have survived in remarkable condition, coins that still shine with their original red copper luster, with sharp details intact and minimal wear. The condition of a coin is everything in numismatics. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS 70. A 1954 penny graded as MS 65 or above can command a significant premium, especially if it retains that gorgeous red coloration that's so difficult to preserve over decades. Beyond condition, certain mint marks make these pennies even more sought after. The San Francisco S mint mark, for instance, is often scarcer in high grades, especially those with pristine surfaces. Collectors are always on the lookout for those gems. Adding to the excitement, some 1954 Lincoln Wheat pennies feature minting errors that drive their value even higher. These errors might include double dies, where you can see doubling on letters or numbers, off-center strikes that give the coin an unusual partial design, or die cracks and other anomalies that are highly prized by specialists. So, if you find a 1954 penny with an S or D mint mark, in exceptional condition, or with some sort of rare mint error, you could be looking at a coin worth considerably more than 1 cent. How can you tell if your coin is one of these valuable finds? Start by examining the date and mint mark closely. Use a magnifying glass to spot any doubling, unusual marks, or irregularities on the coin's surface. Look for luster. Does the coin have a shiny reddish glow, or has it turned brown? The redder, the better. Of course, the most reliable way to confirm a coin's value is to have it professionally graded by trusted numismatic services. These experts will authenticate your coin, provide an official grade, and protect it in a tamper-proof holder, all of which significantly increase its market value. Now, after this deep dive into the 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny's history, rarity, and condition, it's time for the reveal, the part everyone has been waiting for. A truly exceptional 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny, with a rare mint mark, flawless strike, vibrant red color, and perhaps even a mint error, recently stunned collectors when it sold at auction. The final price, $104,000. Yes, you heard that right, $104,000 for a single penny. From a simple cent to a collector's treasure worth over $100,000, this coin reminds us all that sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest stories and value. If you're inspired to check your own change or coin collection, remember the 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny might be hiding a fortune. And who knows? Your next big discovery could be just a penny away. Today, we're embarking on an incredible journey into the fascinating world of one of America's most cherished coins, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat penny. You might think of pennies as mere pocket change, but this particular penny from 1949, especially with its mint mark, carries a rich history and an astonishing value that could surprise you. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready, because this story is packed with history, intrigue, and treasure. Let's travel back in time to the year 1949, a period of post-war recovery and booming prosperity for the United States. World War II had ended just a few years earlier, and the nation was experiencing economic growth, suburban expansion, and cultural shifts. In the midst of all this, the humble Lincoln wheat penny remained a daily companion in millions of Americans' pockets. This penny not only paid for small purchases but also symbolized a connection to America's past, honoring the great Abraham Lincoln, whose profile graces the coin's front side. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint left its subtle mark on these coins. The Philadelphia coins had no mint mark, while Denver and San Francisco coins bore the D and S marks respectively, right beneath the date. These little letters are crucial to collectors and can dramatically affect a coin's rarity and value. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, who introduced the design back in 1909. Surrounding Lincoln's dignified profile are the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1949. The reverse side features the iconic wheat ears framing 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum arching above. This design was used from 1909 until 1958 and remains one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history. While millions of 1949 pennies were minted, what makes certain coins so valuable today is a combination of factors: rarity, condition, and unique minting features or errors. The 1949 pennies, especially those with Denver or San Francisco mint marks, are of particular interest to collectors because some batches were smaller and circulated less, making them scarcer in high-grade condition. Condition is everything when it comes to coin collecting. Coins are evaluated on a grading scale that ranges from heavily worn to pristine mint condition. A 1949 Lincoln wheat penny in circulated condition might be worth just a few cents, but one that is uncirculated, meaning it shows no signs of wear and still retains its original mint luster, can command a high premium. Collectors prize coins with original red or red-brown copper tones because these colors indicate minimal oxidation and preservation of the coin's original state. Brown pennies are more common because copper oxidizes over time, but red pennies from 1949 that are well preserved are rare and highly sought after. Beyond the usual, there are also fascinating minting errors and varieties from this year that collectors hunt for with zeal. These errors might include double dies, where the date or letters appear doubled, off-center strikes that show part of the design missing or shifted, and planchet flaws or die cracks. Each error coin tells a story of the minting process and can add thousands of dollars to a coin's value. To identify these features, collectors often use magnification and lighting to examine the tiniest details of their coins. The presence of a clear mint mark, sharp details, vibrant coloring, and absence of wear all contribute to making a 1949 penny a prized specimen. If you think your 1949 Lincoln wheat penny could be special, the best course of action is to get it professionally graded by a reputable coin grading service. They will authenticate the coin, assign a grade based on condition, and protect it in a sealed holder, making it easier to sell or trade. Now, you might be wondering, what's the actual value of a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny? Most common pennies from that year might only fetch a few cents or a few dollars if in very good condition. But an exceptional specimen, especially one with a Denver or San Francisco mint mark, flawless mint state condition, and perhaps even a rare error, could be worth an astounding amount. Recently, one such 1949 Lincoln wheat penny sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $100,000. Yes, $100,000 for a single penny. That's the incredible power of rarity, history, and condition combined in one small coin. So next time you come across an old penny, don't just toss it aside. You might be holding a piece of American history that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Thank you so much for joining this deep dive into the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny. If you loved learning about this coin and want to uncover more hidden treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a chance to discover numismatic gold. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp and your collections growing. Happy hunting!